I grew up in an academic family. My dad was a physics professor. My mom taught statistics. Yes, you can say I had nerd parents. So being the nth PhD in the family was kind of expected. I'm actually the sixth PhD only on my father's side. Growing up in an academic family has advantages and disadvantages. Academics were always the center of our lives. I was breastfed a passion for learning. But having fun outside of school or with most non-intellectual activities was kind of frowned upon. And oh my, I was a rebel. I was a nonconformist. I gave my parents headaches as I grew up dreaming to be an Olympic track and field athlete. Taking summers and weekends into the equation, I must have spent more hours of my teenage years on the track than at school. Education was so overrated, I thought. Besides, my parents were professor nerds. Freud forbid that I become an academic over your dead body. Never like you. I must have told my parents more than once as a young, ungrateful, and very foolish son. When reality hit, and I finally came to realize that my stud-like, naturally gifted physique wasn't exactly going to take me to the Olympic Games, of course, the nonconformist in me had to find a different way to rebel. A metalhead. This would make my parents very proud. The Rockstar dream also ended, and the need to pay for rent and for food became more evident than before. I was almost 25, still living at my parents' house, about to finish 2 degrees, without a full-time job, and with little clue what to do. While studying, I had worked as a youth track and field coach, as an admin for a digitalization company, as a political pollster for a large newspaper in Mexico City. So it was time to find a real full-time job, cut off my hair, and rely on that huge life gift that my parents had given to me, my education. I found my first full-time job after completing my master's in public policy at the Mexican National Sports Commission. I was going to do public policy in a sports setting, a total dream come true. It was a big surprise to discover that I was also doing marketing in a public policy setting. I became in charge of marketing our Mexican Olympic team and all of our national health and wellness programs. And I had no formal marketing training. But I wanted to do public policy, and I loved sports. It was a great experience. I learned a lot, and I discovered that Mexican politics were interesting, to say the least. In 2000, when the political term was over and having fallen in love with marketing, I decided it was time to learn some marketing formally. This took me to ESADE Business School in Barcelona, one of the best business schools in Europe and maybe the world. Yes, the next 5 years of my life were really, really tough. While doing my master's, I met Albert Serra, a professor expert in public sector marketing. We started to talk, we shared experiences, and one thing led to another. Before I knew it, I was enrolled in a PhD program, writing a dissertation that connected branding to public policy under the guidance of Jordi Montaña. As for any PhD in training, teaching and research became my life. Although I originally thought that I would go back to being a public servant after obtaining my degree. Maybe I would be the next Mexican Minister of Sports. Or maybe work for the United Nations, executing social policy. Ultimately, my passion was public policy and helping others improve the quality of life. And then it happened. It was summer of 2004. I remember it clearly. Barcelona, blue skies, bright sun, beaches at my footstep. But I was home, writing a dissertation in front of an old-style computer monitor that gave me glasses. I used not to need them before I was 30. With a Camp Nou as a backdrop, literally, that's exactly where I lived. And facing the daunting task of entering the job market post-PhD, it suddenly and naturally clicked. what if I keep doing what I've been doing for the last 3 years of my life, research and teaching, which, by the way, I had thoroughly enjoyed, and I never felt it was a job. But now, get paid for it. Duh. It was that simple. So there I was, after all my moaning, humbled about the idea of becoming an academic and in peace. A strange peace I had only felt once before, 1 year earlier when I met Sarah, my wife-to-be. Both times I could close my eyes, envision my future, and feel peace. It was that simple. So without really noticing, everything came together. My passion for public policy, my love for marketing, my interest in understanding people's intentions, my objective of helping others improve their quality of life, and in all honesty, my absolute addiction to being on stage. Why lie? The aha moment happened when I understood that my original plan of helping people through a top-down approach, develop and executing policy, could be substituted with a bottom-up approach, teaching. It was that simple. Although it was a long and twisty journey for my life to go on, I have lived in Mexico City, Sheffield, Maryland, Barcelona, and Texas. I ultimately came back home. I recently developed a class to which every week I invite different industry guest speakers to talk about their lives as marketers in the real world. I challenge you to follow your passion and help your students find theirs. It is that simple. Thank you.